Hi, everybody. It's Julie Huck, and I'm here with the Agent of Change platform. Happy 2024. This is actually my first video this year. It's been a really busy end of the year and beginning of the year. There's been so much going on a personal level and a business level. And I'm just really excited that the first guest in 2024 is none other than my husband, Ed Huck.
Hey, Jules.
Hey, I asked Ed to be here today with us because he has so much to share. He's been on an incredible personal growth journey, and I've been noticing how much it's impacted him as a person, our family life, and our business life. And I wanted him to talk to us a little bit about what he's been doing and how he's been going about that. So I'm thankful that you joined us, Ed, and it's kind of off the cuff today. He doesn't know exactly what I'm going to ask him. So last year was a big year for you, right?
Yeah, personally for sure, and professionally, we had a great year. I mean, our sales were down a little bit, and actually, so were everybody's. But personally, it was a huge year.
Yeah. So
I would say last couple years for sure have really been huge.
Okay, well, tell everybody about what that means. Why was it a big year? What kinds of things did you do?
Yeah, so I'm finally doing for the last couple years, really diving into growing my personal self and doing a lot of the things that all the books and all the platforms and all the podcasts have been saying to do, and really implementing them into my daily life. And I've really noticed it's changed the way I approach my day, the way I look at my day, my interactions with my spouse and the kids and our team members and customers and realtors for that matter too.
Okay. So what did you do?
Yeah, so a lot of things, but some of the bigger ones were I joined a group called Project U, which was I did that a year and a half ago, where it works on yourself. So it's project, and the U is it's a big U, and it forces you to look into the mirror. And we did the first time I went through the class. They have one whole quarter on health and wellness. Then they have another whole quarter on leadership, another whole quarter on wealth, financial wealth, and then another quarter on spirituality. So I really got focused in on my health and eating habits, which we do a lot of that anyway, but it really kind of helped take it to another level. And then I started journaling, ever since being at Keller Williams. Every Bold that we've been through, which is Bold is a class that Keller Williams has that's an 8-week class. And the first thing they do, they give you a journal. It seemed to be, all these classes that we go to at Keller Williams has been, here's a journal. And I never cracked one open. So I committed to going all in when I took this class and signed up for Project U. And one of the things they suggest is journaling. So I really started to do that, which I'm a little bit of a techie, so it was fun. So I got to buy one of these, little tablets that you get to write in. So I didn't actually have to do a journal by in a book. So that's been awesome. So I do that every morning, and it's basically I use the 5-minute journal technique of it asks you basically just 5 questions. What basically a lot of things around gratitude. What'd you do yesterday? What do you expect? What went great yesterday? What are you excited for today? Those kind of questions, and then also meditating.
Well, wait a second. Can I ask you a little bit about journaling? Because what has journaling done for you? What is the purpose of journaling? Because you mentioned that everybody tells us that we should journal, and they always have.
Love it.
What does it do for you?
It resets your mind into the possibilities, I think, and shows you, one of my big challenges is I measure the gap from where I am to where I want to get all the time, instead of measuring the gain from where I came to where I am now. And it helps us put it in perspective that, oh my gosh, look at all these things I should be grateful for. And I am grateful for, but it helps you start your day with that in mind. I think, I write in there, all the things I'm grateful for. And the first couple of times I did it, it was tough, I think, but it's like anything, once you start getting in the rhythm of it, and they challenge you not to write the same thing. I'm grateful for the weather. Okay. It's a sunny day. Well, what about the sunny day are you grateful for? I'm so excited today because I'm going to feel so much energy and excitement when I walk outside and walk around the block with the dog in the sunshine. And when you say it that deep of a level, now all of a sudden, when I just said that, I felt a little light inside. I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. I'm going to feel, that one little activity. Now I'm just going to go, it's a great day today.
I don't know.
We haven't seen
the world you're living in right now in Cleveland. It's not very sunny.
We haven't seen the sun in 10 days, but
hey,
but
you're thinking about those days when we do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the point is taking it and going deep with it. And so, one of the things I do is I write about you and the boys, and I've shared this with you before, but I say, okay, I'm grateful for Julie because, not just I'm grateful for Julie, but because the way she showed up for the boys yesterday and made a point to get down and talk with Connor about X, right? So now all of a sudden I'm reinforcing that we've got this great relationship, and that I'm noticing these little things that if you don't take just 5 minutes, it takes under 10 minutes to do this every morning. It again just reminds me of, oh my gosh, what a beautiful thing I saw yesterday when you did that, right? And if you could, and I do that for our team members too. That's one thing I'm grateful for. Pick a different team member every day. Anyway, it just helps you reset your brain to see all these things you're grateful for. And again, like all the books say and all the speakers say, the more grateful you are, it resets your energy. Now all you're doing is throwing out all this positive, great energy as I walk out of the house and I go get my gas and I pay the person at the gas station, for the pop or whatever. You're just radiating all this positive, loving energy, and it comes back to you.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I was going to ask you that. How has it impacted you in the real estate world, in your professional, everyday business life?
I just think people hear it. I noticed, and I didn't mention this, but the last time I was in the airport, I was smiling at more people and they're smiling right back. And, it's kind of weird, you're making eye contact with these people and they're smiling, and you're smiling. And I just think it's, and which of course then relates even to our customers that we're on the phone with. They can even hear it in your voice. The other agents that you're dealing with on a daily basis, we might have a tough situation we need to negotiate our way through. But if you come at it from being open and, loving and caring and just feeling this energy, as opposed to, if you come at it from, I'm feeling crappy, this isn't going to go the way we need it. I can't believe this customer is trying to hose my customer by, doing X, Y, and Z. It's not going to go anywhere. Our clients are hiring us to be expert negotiators and to be, yes, we want to be on their side. And at the same point, we need to make sure we keep these sales together.
Right.
So if you can bring that positive flow of energy and compassion to the situation, 9 times out of 10, it's going to end in a positive impact or positive fashion.
Well, I mean, and I think that there were a lot of changes that happened in the market last year. There was a lot of uncertainty. Some agents had a great year. Some agents really, really struggled. And it's always our choice on what are we going to focus on, because what we focus on expands. And what you're saying is you implemented this daily habit. It was a big personal growth actual achievement for you, because like you said, you've been wanting to do this for years, and you finally implemented it, probably by some accountability, because you joined a coaching program, which is always a big part of any growth, whether it's business growth or personal growth. You had some accountability. You created a habit, and you started doing it every day, which helped you, instead of being focused on the insecurity or the worries or the nature of the market or not knowing what would happen the rest of the year. You focused on the really great things happening, both personally and professionally. And you're saying that energy came back to you.
Correct.
So you felt that energy every day in a very positive way, instead of coming into the office with that negative energy.
Yeah.
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 So what else did you implement in 2023, and how did it impact you? You started saying meditation?
Yeah. So that actually probably happened in 2022, but really got ramped up in 2023, where at least once a day, hopefully twice a day, sitting back and meditating, which, when you first hear, when I first heard that, I thought it was a little airy fairy, I'm busy. Who the heck has time to take? You're supposed to take 20. The type of meditation that I practice is called transcendental meditation. You're supposed to take 20 minutes twice a day, where you just do this. And the goal is to slow your mind down. So we all hear that little voice in our head, right? So if you don't hear the voice in the head, well, I'm sure everybody knows that there's a voice in your head, right? So if you take 10 seconds.
I mean, I wouldn't assume that everybody
good point.
knows.
So
I think that's definitely something to explain a tiny bit.
Yeah. So if everybody would just take 1 second now and say the word blue in your head, right? You can make yourself say blue in there, or think about a German Shepherd.
Okay.
I can make my mind think about a German Shepherd, right? So I'm in there, and we're always narrating our whole story all day long, right? I've got to do this next. I got to go pick up the kids. I got to go to the dry cleaners. I have to do that. That's your voice. Your voice also says stuff like, you're a loser because you're not getting this done. And, you should have gotten that done. And I shouldn't have eaten that fourth piece of chocolate. Those kind of things. So I think when you put it in that context, hopefully everybody knows what I'm talking about. That's the voice that I'm talking about. And it's constantly running. Sometimes you're aware of the voice, and sometimes you're not aware of the voice, but it's always running. And what I've learned to appreciate is that, I hear this voice, but I'm not the voice, meaning that if somebody's talking, if this voice and this thing is talking in my head, which is actually my mind's talking, who's listening, right? And the who that's listening is, I've heard Gary Keller say this probably 10 years ago, and I just finally really got it within the last couple of years, is I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, as opposed to a human being having a spiritual experience. What that means to me is that the person, the being that's listening to the voice is my spirit. It's my soul, it's my spirit. And it's listening to this mind narrate all this crazy stuff. Some of it's good stuff, right? Some of it's bad stuff. And the point about meditation is to help slow that down, is to separate my mind, when it's just always running constantly, from letting my spirit shine through. And that's been my goal, is to just take the 20 minutes a couple times a day. And I always used to think that I'm swamped. My to-do list never goes down. If it has 20 things on it right now, and it has more than 20, but if it did, and I knock out 5 of them today, I'm putting on 6 new ones. So, I used to get stressed out about that.
Right.
One of my old coaches, that was my thing. I needed to work through, how do I let that go, right? That overwhelming feeling of never getting my to-do list down, and feeling guilty that I'm leaving the office now to go home and the
Right.
list isn't done. And then once I get home, I feel guilty because I didn't finish my list, but now I'm with the kids. If I stay late at the office to keep working on the list, now I'm not home with the family. So I feel guilty about that. So there's this never ending struggle in our heads. And I think so many of us have some kind of struggle. If it's not that, I guarantee everybody listening to this has got some struggle that they could pinpoint right now that's going on in their head.
Yeah.
And the meditating has really helped me unseparate that, meaning that sure, I've got all this stuff on my to-do list, and sure, I want to go home and be with my family, and sure, I want to go hang out with my friends at a basketball game or whatever. It's really helped me learn to be where my feet are. So realizing that being present in the situation right here where I am right now is the most important thing. And then being aware that if I am present or if I'm not present, has been huge. And then for me, slowing down has been the way to realize, am I aware that I'm not being present? And so we talked about this on something else. Somebody asked me my word for the year. This year, my word is present. So my word is slowing down. I had to let them know that the way I got there was the word last year was being aware. So I wanted to be aware. The word before that was present. So it's kind of all builds on each other. And the meditating part has helped me slow down and realize I don't have to keep doing things to be successful. I don't have to just do. I can actually slow down. And in our Keller Williams world, we have a thing called these bold laws. And one of them says, be, do, achieve. And they revamped it. And really it's now be, do, achieve. So there's a lot more joy in the being, and find the joy in the being instead of finding joy in the doing. I used to find my self-worth and my achievements in the doing piece. Now I feel a lot more peace and at ease of, hey, it's all about the being piece. They joke about we're human beings, not human doings, and just be comfortable sitting in the being piece, and the doing will come. It'll doesn't mean, and that's, I think, for us high achievers. When I was at my last Project U course a couple of weeks ago, that's something a lot of these folks are running teams or very successful business owners, and we're all about doing. And we're also worried that if we start being, that our business is going to fall apart. Or, you could even relate it back to a relationship. If we don't have date night every Friday, but let's say we did, and we made sure that was a doing. We have to do this. We have to do this every Friday, and we have to go out to dinner every Friday. But it ended up being a chore because we're trying to figure out a way to do that. It'd probably be much more advantageous to be with my spouse in the kitchen for 15 minutes and really connect at a deep level than think we have to do all this stuff, right? That goes so much farther than the doing. So there's a lot.
No, I mean, it's interesting because I'm sure if, people listening, if you can relate to this underlying anxiety of an industry that we're in that is, there, you have to constantly be networking and prospecting and communicating and Facebooking and Instagramming and doing all the time. Like, you just cannot stop because we don't have hours that you check in and check out, right? And I think that's where that struggle comes in, and where, figuring out that balance is always, every agent that we've coached or partnered with who've come on our team, the most difficult piece of becoming a real estate agent is realizing that there's no line between your personal life and your professional life, that it's just, this is your life, right? And then finding the balance or counterbalance in all those things. And I do believe it takes years. I mean, I think that it's a process, but like Ed said, the more aware you can be that actually the truth is, when you slow down, when you're present, when you're journaling in gratitude, when you're meditating to take that break and shut your mind down, you're actually going to be more clear and more productive than if you were to just keep go, 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 go.
That's what everybody was telling me, when I first started trying to do the meditating. And this is for some crazy, highly successful business owners. And I didn't believe it at first. I'm like,
Right.
there's no way. And it's true, though. And the other thing that it's hard to explain without a whiteboard, but the level of anxiety, we all have this level of anxiety, whether you know it or not. The more I've been meditating, the anxiety level keeps going down and down and down. And so that, like, the bar keeps getting lower and lower. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I could feel this relaxed all the time, and
without reaching for other things.
Yeah, exactly. There's no alcohol. There's no, whatever. There's no outlet for that. It's just, it's okay. It's okay to stay at the house for an extra 15 minutes and read. I was really getting into this book this morning and finished reading that chapter. The world's not going to come to an end if I'm not at the office at 9:01.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I see agents even on our team. It's like we're in a meeting and they cannot stop checking their email. They can't stop checking their phone. They can't stop. And it's something that we all should be aware of as we go into this new year, is taking that time to make sure you're taking care of yourself, that you're breathing, that you're eating properly, that you're sleeping properly, that you're journaling, that you're meditating, you're exercising. And I lived many, many, many years, like many people, where it was, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time. And if you say that in your head over and over and over again, a couple of years ago, I actually said, I'm no longer going to say those words out loud. Yeah. When people ask me how I am, I'm not going to say I'm busy. I'm not going to say out loud that I don't have time, because what I'm doing is I'm just living in this perpetual cycle. I mean, the truth is we do have time. And we're learning and growing, and we're learning how to incorporate healthy habits into our life.
And I think it goes back to how much you want to put on your plate or keep putting on your plate. And I think a lot of us, I don't want to say achievers, that's the wrong word, just everybody. I think there's so many people, our society, the way we're wired is, to be successful, you've got to have your kids in 18 different activities. You've got to be, got to be at the gym. You got to do this, you got to do that. Then you've got to, go to work, and they have to be in 15 different nonprofits. I mean, at some point, you never get a chance to be. No. If you're doing all that. No. And you're not setting great examples for your kids either. You're just running around like chickens with your heads cut off, and not having true, deep, meaningful experiences. Right. If you're pushing yourself that thin. But I think that's part of our Western culture has really beat that into our heads. That's how you have to be successful. That's the definition of success. And that's so not true. I'm learning it's really just the opposite.
It's an illusion. And it's really, it can be a really difficult, it's difficult to go against that natural flow of our culture and society and not get stuck thinking that that's the way we need to be. Because really, in you slowing down, has your productivity or business suffered from you slowing down? No. I would say what happens is you then go to start really picking the important things, that whole 80-20 rule. Or if you've read the book, The One Thing, you start getting really hyper-focused on, I know meditating is important. I know I still work out, and a
all these other things. And, but your 20%, your activities that you're supposed to be doing, rise to the top, and you get those done. So what I've seen happen is a lot of the busy work has kind of fallen off or gotten delegated. So that way I can still focus on, meditating time and getting focused and being, building the business or spending time with the kids or whatever it happens to be. And I noticed it's interesting for me as it's been unfolding, and again, because I've got one of these brains that just races and races and races and always needs to be planning my next 10 minutes and what am I going to be doing here and all that actually goes back to, I was, curled up in bed with our 9-year-old, just sitting there talking with him and really listening to what he's saying and really having this connection eye to eye and heart to heart. And I've really noticed that over the last couple of years happening a lot more, again, because of being able to slow down, become super aware, and be super present. And again, our customers realize it too. If I'm talking with a customer, I'm not, got 15 screens open on my screen. I'm, focusing on what their needs are, or my team member, if I have a team member coming in, we're talking, I'm going to be really present and focusing on the conversation.
Yeah. So, are there any other personal growth things that you've implemented that you think were really positive and actually helped you in your business world?
Yeah. So I think you and I are both very learning based. So, so is everybody on our team. Yeah. And that's how we, one of the core values you have to get on our team. And I think it's huge in that I've really, in the last, say 10 years for sure, but even more so in the last, say, couple, I've really ramped up my reading. In high school, I was never a reader. I read the bare bone minimums. And if then I bought the Cliff Notes and, I was not into reading. And, I think with all the different platforms you have now, whether you can use your Kindle, you can use your audiobooks. I actually, it's funny, I've not mentioned this to you even yet, Jules, is that the book I'm reading right now is paperback. I'm going, I like this. I might go back to more paperbacks. I'm enjoying actually touching the book, feeling it, flipping the pages. And so I think reading, being an avid reader, being an avid, pick 3 or 4 different podcasts.
Taking in new information and listening and being curious and open-minded. I see that in you is like, you don't know everything. You're like, wow, what is this person saying? Oh, that's interesting. How can I implement that?
And building it in your schedule. So making time to do that. Because that's the first thing that falls off everybody's schedule is we all know most people know they need to be learning based, especially if you're running a business or
we're all running our own business.
We're listening to a parenting book. There's always things to be curious about because I'm not the best parent. I'm not the best spouse. I'm not the best team, business owner. There's always opportunities for me to grow in those areas. And I make it a point to take 30 minutes a day at least and focus in on one of those categories and try to learn something.
Yeah. I feel like that I'm very much into Audible. I probably have 10 books going right now and podcasts. And I really just decide for my personality type, I just decide what am I in the mood to take in today. And I listen to it when I drive and I listen to it, in the morning, or I do a devotional, open-mindedness and curiosity, I think they come once you start to slow down. I think that when you're operating at max capacity or beyond, which I think a lot of us are operating beyond our max capacity, there's only enough room for stress, anxiety, just needs for outside comfort because you cannot calm down. And I know I lived in that world for a very long time. And a lot of you know my story where it was, I came home every night and had to drink wine because I was just like so all day long, because we push, 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 push. Because that's what I thought I needed to do to be successful.
Right.
And so changing that and slowing down, and like Ed said, paying attention to like being present. How you are here is how you are everywhere, right? It's another bold law. I mean, if you're in a meeting, just be in that meeting. You don't have to be afraid of what you're missing. You don't have to be afraid that your whole world is going to fall apart. You don't have to be afraid that your clients, if you don't call them in 2 minutes after they called you, you actually called me out on that the other night, which I think was a good eye opener. And I want to share this is someone texted me and we were sitting down at the end of the night and I was like, I have to text them back. And you're like, why? I'm like, because they texted me. And really, if you think about that, like, that's not you in control of your life and your time and your emotions. That's other people controlling your life and your time and your emotions, which adds to your stress and adds to your anxiety and adds to like stealing away.
Yeah, I mean, we've not even gone down that whole path of this thing, right? I mean, that's a whole nother thing that we're both still, I've gotten better about it.
Right.
As when I'm at home, I'm going to be at home and I'm not going to, I might check it once after dinner and that's it. And I'm probably not going to respond to anybody unless I absolutely need to. And I think it's going to be interesting to see in 10 or 15 years to see how we've rewired our brains with these crazy phones and not being able to shut it down and take a step away from it. They're going to be going back to saying we were all crazy for having these things attached to us. I asked our team the other day, could you wake up in the morning and not touch your phone for the first 2 hours? And everybody just like their hearts just, the air fell out of the room. It was like, no, they couldn't do that. Right. And, I think that's healthy not to touch your phone for the first 2 hours in the morning. There's not, if somebody really needs you, they're probably already in your house and you already know about it. And if they didn't, it can wait 2 hours. Right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and also like you said, when you're with your kids or you're like, oh, I'm so thankful I'm in this real estate industry so that I can go to my kids' games and be present, but you're on your phone the whole time.
They notice.
They know that. That is not okay. You might as well just not go because I actually think it's worse that you show up and you're not present. And
I caught myself when I took our 12-year-old to swimming and there was like one or two things I had to do just to kind of finish up the day. And I told him, I said, I'm going to be on my phone just for a minute because I've got to get this done. And then I put it down and I watched him look over at me probably 10 times to make sure that I was not on my phone, to see that I was engaged. And because none of the other parents were. And I used to not always be engaged so much. I'm just, it's a thing I'm working on as well, like everybody else. But it goes same thing with if you're with a customer, if you're with your spouse, if you're with another, realtor, if you're at dinner with somebody, it's be there.
Well, and I think that there's a deeper issue of what are you going to lose? Are you scared? What are you afraid of by not being present? Right. And it's just something to think about. And I think that the more that you can incorporate some of these things into your life, the more peace that you'll find. And I think the more you'll enjoy this industry as a whole, it's like the success actually will start coming more to you than if you were in that cycle of anxiety and stress and all the things. So Ed, what other last advice would you give in terms of what you've learned this past year? I know you're still on a growth journey and you're not going to stop. So we're going to keep growing.
Never ends. I think that's something is, we talk about this all the time, is getting comfortable, being uncomfortable. You learn, as you're peeling this onion back and like I said, okay, now I need to be present, but I need to be aware to be present. and now I need to slow down. I'm now excited to figure out, okay, what's going to be the next thing that actually has to happen that gets exposed in I get to see, oh, that's the next layer that I've got to peel back. So it never ends. And just being comfortable with that it never ends. And, for me, a couple of the growth journey going through this Project U course has been amazing. So you can always look that up. You just look up Project U. There's Project U and Project U Unbound. So there's 2 different courses there. Reading Eckhart Tolle's books. I don't know if the names of them flew right out of my head as I was thinking about this, but Michael Singer's books have been phenomenal.
Podcast.
They both actually have podcasts. So if you don't, and you can actually listen to the audiobooks and they have the podcast. Adam Hergenrother, who runs this Project U course, also has this new book, The 200% Life, which has been, it's your guide to spiritual growth and business success without meditating at a mountaintop. So, the thought is you actually have both. Oh my gosh, we don't need to go sit like, somebody up in a cave with a robe, on a mountaintop. No, there's practical, life will give you things to work on every 10 minutes of your day, so that you can actually have, things exposed to you that you need to let go of, so that you can have a better spiritual experience, which then leads to a better experience with relationships, which then leads to better business. So it all goes hand in hand. So these are all, his concept is this 200% life. It's 100% outer life, which is this: interacting with my spouse, interacting at work, interacting with our customers, building a business, and then the whole 100% inner things that are going on with that little voice in my head telling me, no, I can't go do that, or you should go do that, or go, you're successful over here. No, why don't you go start a restaurant, or whatever. All those little things they're going on there, and how to help work through a lot of that. So it's been a fun journey, that's for sure. And I can't wait to see where it continues to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you. That was just the tip of the iceberg, because we could sit here and talk about it all day long, which we pretty much do anyways. So I'm sure I'll have you back. We'll talk more.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I know you can. It's so exciting. And obviously, if anyone wants to ask Ed questions about what he's been doing, or the books or the podcast or anything like that, always feel free to reach out to him. It's ed@edhuckteam.com. And you're always free to reach out to me, Julie at Julie Huck Team. No, it's not true. Julie at edhuckteam.com. I'm still trying to get that name changed, but I can't yet. I know you would love it.
All for it.
All right, everybody have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much.